audio spike.
Wow. I'm glad you didn't warn me.
I'm sorry.
No, don't be. Don't warn anybody. Keep it going. I like it.
Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the ADHD Express. I'm very happy today. Today is a special podcast, so we have a very special guest, more special than everybody else because it's my older brother.
That's me.
And so that is awesome. And so today we don't have Joe, which is a first, but we have Mikey, who's here to sit in. He's Joe with shorter hair. And we have Daniel, as always. He's going to help us out. And then we have my dear brother, Russell Carlson, retired chief from the United States Coast Guard.
Yep.
Long-haired, red mohawk, green beard.
Yep.
Right.
He definitely has had experiences and has been through a series of changes and growth and expansion. And Russ is here. We are going to talk today about, so we've talked about, and I've showed you guys some of the pictures of my dad's truck with the armored personnel carrier. You guys have seen the melted piece of metal from the helicopter crash that I had proposed was from alien fire. Well, so Russell, so we grew up a little differently. Our dad really had a thing for Russ and thought he was pretty okay, and he did not have that same thing for me. So I didn't get that experience with the tail. It's okay. Don't feel bad about it. I didn't mean to take that down.
No, it's cool.
Okay. But it's more of, so he actually heard the truth behind that fire. So no aliens, you guys. I'm sorry.
Aliens would be a lot cooler.
It would be. He kind of called me after that podcast released. He goes, they were just dumbass pilots who overloaded a helicopter, right?
Yep.
And I says, well, no. Yeah. That would have been good information before I made an ass of myself.
No, I liked it. No, the alien thing was great.
Yeah, so anyway, Russ is here. Russ, why don't you take a minute? Tell us about yourself, man.
No.
Okay,
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
That is the best response.
So I did 21 years in the Coast Guard active duty. I was a flight mechanic on the MH-65 helicopter. I rescued...
do they also call that helicopter the Dolphin for some reason? They do,
the Dolphin.
And
there's a French helicopter called the Delphine.
If I may... So I got to watch. I told once in a podcast a story about when you pinned on Chief and we went out to Cape May to check it out, and they did that cool hovering display with that helicopter. Do you remember that? The hoisting display?
Yes. That
was really cool. So that they consider that helicopter like the Ferrari of the helicopter world. So anyways, I just wanted to put that in there because I've seen one close range, and there goes Daniel trying to catch burning logs out of the fire.
Fire.
This is where Joe jumps on the 360 and shows that. Anyway. I'm not going to talk about the firewood. That's too long, and us not having the time to chop it up. So it's okay. And look, he's going to grab another long piece and just put it in. Oh no, he's
not that long.
The mess.
It's long. But
okay. Anyways, so the Dolphin. Back on you.
Yeah. I basically pulled people out of the water, off cliffs, medevacs, that kind of stuff.
So what did you do before? So before you were sitting in a desk as a chief and did nothing.
Right? He's not wrong. He's not wrong. I did teach.
You guys, while I was out working 50, 60 hours a week building my businesses, I would call Russell some days because I'd have a minute and I'd just be stressed. And he's like, what are you doing? He's like, dude, I've been here for 2 hours. There's literally nothing going on. He's like, and I could leave because I'm the boss, but then I feel bad.
I do.
He's like, so I'm sitting here. He goes, I just finished watching. Do you remember this conversation? This was right away. And you watched some Dexter, maybe? No. That was when you were surgery, when the Dexter thing. Anyways, he watched some. He's like, I just finished binge watching Netflix.
Yeah, I did.
And I'm just like, tax dollars at work.
It is.
But before that, you actually had excitement.
Yeah, before that, I worked on all of the electrical and electronic systems of the MH-65 helicopter.
While it was in flight and in a Coast Guard and in the hangar, right? So you were the guy on the back of the helicopter. You hoisted people.
I did. I hoisted people.
Front line.
I did.
So when he's talking about this stuff, it's not like, I saw it come through my desk as paperwork, which I'm sure you did as a chief.
I did.
But you were literally had to take hand in some pretty gruesome recoveries.
I did. I pulled a lot of dead bodies out of the water. I chased drug dealers on the water and inland. Been shot at.
So funny story. He did this huge weed bust one time. He was telling us about it, and then he called our dad to be like, "Man, you're gonna have a hard time. You better stock up now." Do you remember that?
I do.
Was that Bend when you were flying in the helicopter looking for?
No, that was in Puerto Rico.
Okay. Oh, that's
I did fly when we were in Oregon looking for illegal grows at the time overland, but the cartels didn't go that far up the coast because the water would just get too crazy. No, that's more Southern California where they're coming in.
Yeah, coming in hot.
But yeah, we did do drug busts and Southern California as well. But I did feel really bad because it wasn't drugs. It was just pot. It would be much better if it was like coke or heroin, but 13 tons of pot, I just felt bad.
All those good times you took away.
I did.
No,
I felt so bad because it's just pot. I mean,
yeah.
Yeah, interesting how they. But that was a long time ago. So
that was many years ago. Yeah, I made chief, which is more of a leadership position. Stopped flying, stopped hoisting, and the fun kind of went out of the job. And so I decided to retire. 21 years, and now I fix test equipment that the Air Force uses to fix their aircraft, whether it's generators, starters, hydraulic actuators, from all different airframes, from the A-10 to the F-16 to the 22, 35.
Okay.
Cargo planes. I mean, I don't work on the aircraft at all. It's just when they pull off components, they send them into the depot maintenance, which is in Layton, Utah, and they fix them.
So it's like refurbishing?
Sort of, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty much. A lot of the aircraft are old, and the companies that made the components are not, or they're gone. So, Hill Air Force Base, Utah, they pull starters, generators, actuators, they strip them all apart, fix them, put them on a test stand, make sure everything works, and it goes back out on aircraft.
Interesting.
So the test stands that they use to verify.
What you're saying is it sounds like the military is using the same redneckery that I used to get a junkyard car rolling.
Yes. Yes.
Nice.
But on a much larger scale.
Well, yeah, sure. Sure. But I mean, come on, man. Who wouldn't want to hotwire a...
Right? It would be fun. It would be a lot of fun. They're nice and quiet, too.
At all.
They are. A-10s are way quiet.
Or is it just, I mean, comparatively?
Compared to an F-35 or an F-22.
Are they louder than a 16? Like for sure or no?
Which ones?
The 35, the 22.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, because
100%.
Remember as kids, so we grew up, Russ and I grew up just underneath the flight line of the Hill Air Force Base. And so like every single day they would, they do touch and goes. And you're like, well, don't bother using a phone today or taking a nap because they're going to do touch and goes. But like, do you remember like the difference? You'd have an F-15 cruise through and it's like, or a C-130 go by and you're like, oh, look at that. And then you have the ungodly scream of an F-16 hitting his afterburners.
Yes, the F-16s are... Fire,
Joe, quick, get a video of DJ playing
F-16s are way quieter than the 35.
Okay.
It's
scary,
almost,
then.
it's interesting to hear them because we do at Hill Air Force Base still have F-16s that come through.
Oh, okay.
And you hear them take off and you're like, what's wrong with that thing? Oh, it's an F-16.
So
because
now,
it's
good.
It's noticeably quieter.
So now and just for fun history, because wasn't the last whole like I don't know platoon or whatever of F-16s was at a Hill. That was like the last place for the 16, wasn't it?
As far as and then if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I don't care. But as far as a flight squadron, yeah, F-16. This was a massive F-16 squadron base,
okay, right.
But because
The
they
Black
came
Widows,
out with the 35, which is a faster, more agile, more technically advanced technology.
So my brother-in-law,
words.
my wife's brother, paints those planes. And he was talking about, we were doing some, just kind of digging and doing some research, and he's talked to a bunch of the pilots, and they say, like, if it came to an all-and-out dogfight, the F-16 would walk all over the F-35.
Yes.
But the problem is that the F-16 is going to be shot down before it even knows the F-35's there.
That is correct. That is correct.
He'll never have a clue.
The A-10 could take out an F-35. It's more nimble.
Wow, okay.
But again,
they don't know he's there.
It's the tech. It's the radar. It's the radar locking ammunition. It's just next wave. Their helmets that they wear are very expensive because it's all VR. Their helmets are completely enclosed. So when they look down, they don't see, they see through the plane.
Are you serious?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It's like straight up VR.
I had no idea.
Yeah, their helmets are like
sweet.
Lots of money.
Yeah.
Wow,
but it's custom
cool.
to each pilot. So it's like their helmet. So yeah, when they put it on, they have a virtual display of all their gauges. But they can go like, they can turn left, they can turn right.
Look through the plane, so you have sight everywhere.
Yes, you don't. But it's completely
you can look
enclosed.
behind you and you're just looking behind you.
Yes, you look behind.
So
you look
crazy.
over your shoulder for your blind spot to merge.
yeah, right.
And you don't have to worry about hitting another aircraft.
Could you imagine the feeling of that? Like if you just like cut out the plane, you're just like flying through the
Oh, I'm
sky
sure
with,
those
like,
dudes, right?
nothing there.
Yeah. I mean,
Oh.
I haven't seen it, but you'd have to have something, I would think, to anchor your mind.
Yeah.
Something to show that you're not just floating in space.
Your heart rate just
Well, I'm sure they're doing.
races
Come on, it's
because-
I'm sure they're doing all
They
kinds of
have to have
training. Those
something.
dudes are probably next level. Like you have a conversation with them, and they're probably almost like not human because they're so
Well, They are pilots.
Hey, what did Dad tell you when you
weren't
joined the Coast
human
Guard
in the
about
first
pilots?
place.
Hey, this is a great transition.
I was going to say, segue. They are pilots, which brings us to the recovery of the H-3 helicopter.
Oh, the H-3 helicopter.
That
So
was not shot down
That
by
was not
aliens.
shot down
Could have
by
been
aliens.
shot down by aliens.
that was just aircraft fuel melting aluminum.
Yeah, unfortunately. So in 2003,
No aliens.
I was an electronic technician on a boat, and I hate boats. I hate water a lot.
Weren't you in the Coast Guard?
Yes.
Oh,
I'm also a big person of trying to overcome your fears.
okay. That makes more
I hate
sense.
water.
He spent, 30 days at sea in a 270-foot boat?
I spent 4 months at sea on a 270-foot boat, and it was terrible.
He saw dead whales that were close to the size of the boat, and he
Yeah.
said that was really unnerving.
It was
Snap.
like big giant fish.
Just floating out there?
Yeah, and so we stopped and shot it a lot with big guns.
So sometimes they have to
practice.
dispose of old ammunition.
Yeah.
It was honestly, that was like the coolest story about that whole experience for you was like, yeah, they threw all these crates out in the ocean and then we were all trying to hit them with machine guns. And
Yeah,
like, that's a
50
lot
cal.
hard. He says it's a lot harder than it looks in the movies.
It is 50 cal deck mounted machine guns shooting a dead whale. The 25 millimeter cannon shooting it.
That's sweet.
It stunk.
Oh, sure.
Were there like a bunch of sharks in the water afterwards maybe? Or did the
I
noise?
don't know. No, probably not. Not till we clear
Plugged
the
out.
area. Sharks aren't going to come near the boat. It's loud. It's big. Yeah. So 2003, I decided I really didn't like my job because I was on a boat and I was fixing radar. I was fixing radios.
No fat chicks.
Nope. I did that. I put that on top of the radar array on the boat and got in trouble. I got so much trouble.
Oh, yeah, you told us about
I told
that.
that about, yeah. I was just kind of like, when you're like, tell me about your brother. Well, yes, he made chief, and that's a congressional position, and that is a huge deal that he did, and we're all really proud of him. He also one time painted no fat chicks on top of an antenna who was being visited by a
Pilot
chick who was did not find that amusing.
They did a flyby over the top of the boat, and this antenna is on top of the mast, all the way at the very top. It's
Nobody
a-
can see it unless you
Nope,
fly
you cannot
low
see it.
overhead.
It's a giant, I would say, about 10-foot disc, and in yellow paint, I painted no fat chicks on it.
She's seen it in a flyby?
Oh yeah, she did a flyby over the top of the boat, and
And then did another one.
then did
Oh,
another
no.
one, and so they landed. And an hour later, I got called into my chief's office because I was an E4, and he said, "You wouldn't happen to know anything about some graffiti on top of the antenna that
No.
you went up 4 weeks ago to do maintenance on, do you?" And I said, "No, but I don't know if I did that maintenance properly." He's like, "Yeah, you should probably go back up there and make sure the maintenance on that antenna was done properly." So I crawled back up there and had to paint over
I'm just
it.
curious, how tall is that? Now, again, this is on a 270-foot long ship that's probably, 60 feet wide?
Sure.
Less?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I
You don't know.
purged that. That was like being in prison and high school at the same time.
That's true.
So I purged that. As how tall it was, you're up there 100, 150 feet,
On a ship that's
On a
doing
ship
this in
that's
the
going
water.
like this.
Teetering.
and you're on top of it, so there's nothing to hang on to. And you're tied in, but if you fall, you're going to fall
Then swing and dangle.
the length of your tie, and then you're going to
Pendulum.
pendulum into the mast, and
So you can grab
that
hold.
does not look like it would feel good.
Yeah.
So yeah, I had to fix all that. But I decided I wanted to change my jobs, and the Coast Guard was looking for aviators. So I said, I'm going to do that. And the Coast Guard said, okay. Coming home to visit family and friends is when our father, he said to me as he handed me, picture in your mind, guys, a piece of slagged aluminum with rocks that looks like a mutated face. I forgot to bring it. It's my fault. Like the dragon, but it's a face because it has lips and it's pretty gnarly. I forget. Just picture it. Yep.
That's, so it's a dragon. Little foot. It's like a fat dragon. What's the movie that you told me to watch on Netflix? Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but the obese dragon is the
Was
best
awesome.
thing in the world.
Yes.
And he trips and falls. And he's like, oh, and he just rolls
Yep.
off.
Yep. I love the fat
Have
dragon.
you seen that movie? Dude, that is the best.
Yeah.
It makes the whole
Fat dragon is badass.
Incredible.
That's the
He is
one.
awesome.
If I ever get a dragon tattooed on my body, it's going to be fat.
Yeah. This
I'm
dragon
sorry.
was huge.
Yep,
It was
he
great.
was gorgeous and glorious in
It
his,
was.
and everything about him in every single way.
Yep.
So anyway, so
So
Dad hands Russ the face and
he hands
says,
me the face, and he tells me the story, sort of what happened to the helicopter that he recovered.
and
got
we
these
have
two
that on
pieces
video,
of-
you guys, and we are going to show that here in about 15 minutes.
Are we really?
Yeah, I
Cool.
got it all queued up and everything.
Sweet. So what happened was they had a bunch of VIPs, and they were basically going on a tour of the AOR, which is the area of responsibility, that Hill Air Force Base and its associated depots, whether it was Dugway or the other one that I can't think of. Dugway's part of Eagle. So they stopped, they landed, and they fueled up. Now, helicopters and fixed-wing aircraft. Fixed-wing aircraft need airspeed to fly. They need to go forward fast. That's how it flies.
Yeah.
Helicopters generate their own thrust, and so their weight. They are limited by weight. So the heavier they are, the harder it is to take off. You have to do a lot of calculations. You have to have your cargo, whether it's equipment or personnel. You have to have the minimum amount of fuel that you're going to need to get from point A to point B, plus some reserve. Anything left over is just awesome. Well, they did their math wrong. And so when they took off, they were too heavy and they could not achieve proper lift. And they ended up flying into the side of the mountain. Everybody died. The molten slagged aluminum. Aluminum does not melt at a very high temperature. And whether they're using JP8 or Jet A, has a very high flash point. So once it burns for a while. And that's why there was not a lot of large pieces in the recovery. There was a portion of the tail section and then some of the rear cargo / ramp area. But unfortunately, the cabin and cockpit was just
Melted
slagged.
away.
Yep.
Huh.
Just died. Because the fuel cells in helicopters are underneath the floor in essentially Kevlar bags. So they can expand and contract as they're full or empty. So he told me this because it was a pilot error. The pilot's job is to make sure that they put enough or not enough fuel to take off. And they made a mistake and took off trying to impress everybody. And they killed the whole crew. So he gave me the slagged face and told me, do not let the pilots kill you, because pilots are dumb. Oh, yeah. So there's pilots out there listening. And they're going to say, we're not dumb. Okay.
You might not be.
Here's the thing. If pilots aren't dumb, then there wouldn't be an FAA term called controlled flight into terrain. I'll put that in layman's terms. You had full control of the aircraft and you flew it into Earth.
Yep.
Earth is huge. And you hit it. The one thing you're not supposed to do.
Yeah, one job.
You have one job. Don't hit Earth. And so, but it is. In the early years of aviation, mechanical failures were the cause of most of the mishaps. As humans and technology advanced, it's now human error is the majority of aviation mishaps, being crashing, landing without your wheels. Not that I know what that is. I do.
Yeah, but hang on. Sometimes now, I guess I would say that maybe now is actually probably a good time to elaborate on that story, just for those poor pilots that had that exact scenario that you had to endure, right?
Oh.
Because was that them, or
Landing
was
wheels
that
up?
was that the because you guys were over
It
your
was all
hours?
of us.
Huh?
It was all of us.
Right, you were over your hours. You guys were,
we were
like,
flying.
there was a circumstance involved in that story. I know it
Yes.
because I'm his brother, so of course I heard the
Yes.
story. You guys don't know the story. Do you want to? Can you
Yeah, absolutely.
Elaborate.
Yeah.
try to get
So-
this thing going?
In Coast Guard aviation, and I know in civilian aviation, they have their own hours and rules as well. But in helicopter flying, you can only fly for 6 hours, which doesn't seem like a lot. But in the MH-65 helicopter, your average flight time was 2 hours. So you're 6 hours of flight time. So it's an hour to turn the plane around, do a through flight, get it fueled up, go out and fly again. So you're looking at a 9-hour day for 6 hours of flying, which is, it's a lot getting beat around in a helicopter because they're not exactly the smoothest thing. And you're essentially looking for a coconut on a person's head floating in the water when you're looking for people. So it's it has a mental strain and it has a physical strain. And it's a good limit. So that way when you're done for 24 hours. You got to rest and all that stuff. So that way you can go out and be safe flying again. Common occurrence in warm watered areas like Puerto Rico, where I was stationed, is they would land you with 5.8 hours. So you could max gas. Again, we go back to the weight and go fly past that 6 hours. Yes, you were grounded, meaning you could not fly again until you had 24 hours of rest. It was one of those scenarios. They lost a diver. So we were out doing search patterns in the mangroves, flying high, swooping down low, 10, 15 feet over the water. Oh, no, that was debris. That was coconut. That was whatever it was. That's not a diver. So then you'd fly up to about 200 feet until you'd see something else, spin around, drop back down. All aircraft have warnings for wheels and landing. The H-65 helicopter has one at 25 feet. But we were exceeding that frequently, so we turned the alarm off. Why not? It's annoying.
Yeah, that's like the seatbelt one.
It's annoying. You turn it off. And you look cooler flying with your wheels up. So, no big deal. That's authorized. We weren't landing. We weren't breaking any rules. It's okay. Well, then it becomes habit. Your mental muscle memory of ignoring wheels down. So as we were landing to max gas to go back out to do another 2.5 hours of searching and then go home, we flew into the airport to land.
Forgot to put them
There's
back.
checklists. There's a pre-landing checklist and a landing checklist. And guess what is on both of those checklists? That one person says it, everybody else confirms. Wheels down. Twice. All three of us missed it. We all said it. They had the black box, so they listened to the audio. We went through the checklist.
Yeah.
Just forgot to actually
But we did
check.
not actually lower the landing gear.
Oh, no.
There's visual indicators. There's audio indicators.
There were.
There's verbal challenge and response. One person says it, everybody else responds. So 3 people had 6 opportunities. You notice the landing gear was still up, and we did not, because we all thought, hey, we do this all the time. We land all the time. An inevitable
Just
ending
another
to
day.
flying is you're gonna land. So yeah, we landed without our landing gear down.
Oh,
Yeah, we wheeled up.
yikes.
Yeah,
Was
You
it like
hear
a
the
crash?
crunching when you hit the ground?
Oh yeah, we heard crunching, and the helicopter tipped over to a pretty severe angle. And
They
The
caught it though.
props?
They didn't actually crash. Like they were able to
props
no,
didn't hit?
the pilot at controls managed to
get it off the ground
get
before
it off
the
the ground
blades.
before it tipped all the way over, and the blades hit the ground. And
That would have been catastrophic, or what would they just and you guys would
it would have been pretty catastrophic. They wouldn't have scrapped the helicopter. They would just crate it up and send it back, and they would have rebuilt it. But it would have been a lot more.
So did they still end up having to fly it out and rebuild what was broken, or was it just the antenna?
So the antenna got crushed, and it punctured one of the fuel cells and punctured the skin. So there's big float bags on it. So if you crash in the water, at least on this helicopter only, it will float for a couple of minutes before it sinks. So that got crushed. The float bag got crushed.
Gives you a chance to at least get out, get your gear on, and get out.
It's not a very good idea, but they're there.
Mm.
They're
Yeah,
there really to watch other people screw up and accidentally inflate them in the hangar so you can laugh at them.
of course. Well, and it's funny actually, as Russ, as you're telling the story, it reminds me of when you went through some training and you were, is that your airborne type or not airborne? I don't know what it's called, but like you had to do the helicopter chassis thing that they dunk in the pool upside down, and you had
dunker training.
Yeah, I had to do the dunker training and stuff like that. Because was that to be on the helicopter?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah.
Yeah, it's an annual requirement to do the dunker
it's like
training.
A Coast Guard airborne-ish type stuff.
Sort of. There's a lot of PJs in that class that were remarkably not cool with dropping 12 feet into the water while blindfolded. I figured paratrooper dudes would have been way, way cooler with that, but they were not. They freaked out.
I don't think I'd be that excited.
They freaked out. I sat in the chair, closed my eyes, and was just like, all right, here we go.
Yep, that's all you could do. You just have to you embrace the suck.
You embrace the suck.
Yep.
It
sucks to suck,
because
so you
it's required.
Yep. Embrace the suck.
5-point harness, blindfolded, 12 feet, hit the water, spin upside down, then you have to get out. I didn't mind it. That means there's something wrong with me. If the 15 PJs who were there didn't like it.
And you enjoyed yourself.
I was like, whatever, man. This is no big deal.
Is what it is.
Yeah. I was like, man, it's easy. It's not hard. Some people don't like it. I don't mind, though.
Yeah, that sounds kind of sketchy.
It's fun. It's fun. Because you also get to do shallow water egress training. Okay. Very similar, but you're in a chair, 5-point harness in the pool, and they flip you upside down. Then you have to get out, but it's not hard because it's literally that big. You just get out. The worst part about that is you get pool water up your nose.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's just no fun.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with the dunker. You just get pool water up your nose.
Okay. So that was part of like the training that they have you do?
Yeah. So in the Coast Guard aviation program, you had to do annual training. There was monthly training, semi-annual training, and annual training. The annual training was where they basically try to drown you. Like for the most part, you're like,
wait, tell me again why you don't like water. I don't understand.
You're right. Because water sucks.
I don't understand.
But yeah, you'd be in full gear. You'd be in your steel-toed combat boots and a flight suit, your helmet, and a vest that had 8 pounds of lead shot in it, which doesn't seem like a lot, but when you're trying to keep your face above the water, that 8 pounds gets real heavy.
Yeah.
8 pounds turns to 20.
It does. So you have to swim 75 yards in full gear, and then at the end you have to ground proof, which is different than treading water. It's a technique they teach you. It's really hard. It's all mental. So treading water, everybody knows what treading water is. You egg beater your arms and your legs to keep your head above the water, but you're expending a tremendous amount of energy.
Yeah.
Ground proofing. Come to an end of your swim, you take a deep breath, and you stop moving. And you sink. Natural. But you're not going to sink that much because your lungs are full of air. And you're breathing hard. You've just swam 75 yards with a whole bunch of stuff on that is not conducive to swimming. So you hold your breath for as long as you can. Explosive motion to get your head above the water. You exhale. Big breath in. And then just go limp.
Huh.
And you do that over and over again.
Until you're
And
recharged.
then before you know it, a minute and a half into it, your heart's not racing anymore. You're not breathing hard anymore. And now you're able to just chill and relax. And you're only maybe a foot under the water. Maybe. Huh. And so you do that, you're conserving your energy because you're not fighting to stay above the water.
Yeah.
And then once you're calm and your heart rate is lowered and your breathing is lowered, that's when you start doing your ground proofing techniques of using your helmet as a flotation device or taking off your flight suit, tying the legs and doing that whole.
Huh.
But you don't tread water.
That's interesting.
Right? Conserves energy, saves your life.
Yeah, that makes sense because I mean, it gives you a moment to recharge.
It
Not
does.
an ideal moment,
but it's all mental.
Yeah,
because
staying away from that panic.
You're breathing heavy. You're like, oh my god, I'm in the middle of the water. I'm gonna die. Yeah. I mean, yes, I know I'm in the deep end of the pool, but you're still like, this sucks.
Yeah.
So it's all mental.
It's all about like calming yourself and like.
And then you do it all over again in the ocean.
That would be a little more concerning.
A little bit more. But there's a whole bunch of you, so it's a target-rich environment for any kind of creature that wants to eat you.
Oh yeah, little snacks in the water.
Yes, there is. There's a whole bunch of you, so you're just rolling the dice and hoping that they don't name the new species after you when it eats you.
Right.
Yeah. Fun. A lot of fun.
Yeah, that's crazy. I never would have thought that is like, that would be the go-to for, relax. I would think like floating on your back or something like that, but
eventually, yes. You can totally float on your back. The downside of floating on your back is if a wave hits you, you're in the worst position because water's going to go up your nose, in your mouth. Yeah, right?
Now you're trying to recover.
Now you're trying to recover.
Yes, suck in air,
right.
and then you suck more water, and you're done.
And if you're on the top of the water, the wave can take you, right?
It's a very easy position. That's why everybody does the backstroke or they lay on their back, because that's easy. Because your lungs are right here.
Yeah.
So it's going to keep you above the water. But it's also the worst way to do it.
Yeah, I was going to say, because with the waves too, if you're floating on your back, you're going to get taken with the wave. And if you sink even just a foot down, then you're going to get moved by it and not taken with it.
So that's what the drown proofing teaches you.
Okay.
And you practice it in a pool. And while you're doing this, the rescue swimmers are there. That's a different job in Coast Guard aviation. So they're there to help you, to make sure, you don't actually drown.
Like,
I mean, they're not going to, they're going to be like, no, man, you can make it. You're like, I'm like, no, you're making noise. If you're making noise, you're not choking. You're still moving, so that means you're still alive. They're right there. Like, they're literally this close to you as you're going through your life crises of, I'm going to die. It happens every year during swim test. So, but they're right there, and they don't, they might like one hand just kind of nudge you to bring you, but they're,
Okay. So after that, I bet you have kind of like a feeling of like, I don't know, like a new perspective after after doing that swim training and stuff. It's like I guess a newfound knowledge of your abilities. You do for
like a week.
Yeah.
And then you're like, nah, it wasn't that bad. Yeah. And then the next year rolls around and you do it again and you're like, I'm going to go swimming. And that lasts for like 2 weeks. And then you're just like, nah, it's not that bad.
I hate the water.
I don't know if you swam laps much. That's a lot of work.
Yeah.
What's that?
So it's the Coast Guard's Hell Week then.
Yes. Yeah. And it happens every year.
Man.
It's fun. It's not. That was the only part I didn't really like, was the swim testing. The dunker, the sweat share, that stuff wasn't bad. I just didn't like the swim testing part.
That's understandable.
Right?
After that explanation, I mean...
I didn't like it.
Yeah.
Nobody does.
Yeah, I can't see anyone looking forward to that.
No, the rescue swimmers like it because we all make fun of them throughout the whole year because we just call them luggage when we go flying because they don't do anything.
They just sit there and hang out
unless
they have to jump into the crazy wild sea and rescue you from
exactly.
Something.
And then at one time a year, they get to watch you
they
struggle
love it.
And you're like panicking and they're just like, remember that time?
Yeah, it's like, yes, you've nailed it.
Remember what you said to me on that plane? Good luck.
It's good fun.
That's awesome.
It is good fun.
It is good fun. Trauma bonding.
And I only knew the one swimmer. I only knew that one swimmer, Bill. He was awesome.
Yeah, Bill's cool.
We met him in Puerto Rico.
Yep.
He was way cool. Very different breed. You could tell the dude just kind of walks around with a silent power. Like he's like a gorilla. He could just pull your arms off.
Yeah. I mean, they have to be physically fit at all times to be able to not only
No. I'm physically fit.
You are.
They are
above
no,
and beyond.
That does not count as physically fit.
That's fair.
I'm physically
fit.
That's fair. I can do push-ups, pull-ups, I can run, I can do all those things. No, those dudes are next
Built
level.
Different.
Yes.
They are. They go like there's people who like to go running, which is something I don't understand. But they'll go run. They're like, I'm gonna go run 5 miles. Why? These guys will go like, I'm gonna go swim 2 miles.
Then
In the ocean.
run 5 miles
In the
afterward.
ocean.
In the ocean. And they do
Alone.
that for fun.
In my swimsuit.
Alone. And one of them actually talked me to going out in the ocean at night. It still gives me nightmares, but
I can't eat. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be not.
no.
When I was in Jamaica, I remember going out into the ocean at night one time because I was just like, I'm going to do this. Russ talked about this. And I was like, I remember getting out to probably like just mid thigh. And I was just like, yeah, no, we're going to go back. I was just like, yep, I'm not that tough.
Yeah.
I'm cool. It's cool. I accept that.
No, we
You
were
swim in
diving,
the ocean at night. All respect to you.
we were diving down, catching lobsters like 30 feet down.
You ever get to eat them?
Oh yeah.
No, always. Oh, dude,
Oh, yeah.
are you kidding me? He's the one who taught me how to deal with a conch.
Really?
Oh yeah. Conch shell, conch fish, or not my fish, but
Conch.
conch
Call it conch.
slugs, because that's what they are.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're delicious.
Yeah.
Swim out, catch one, throw it on a grill.
Crawl out of the hole to cook
Yep,
for you.
the
They
shell's
just
like
crawl right
getting
out of the
hot,
shell.
so they're like, "Oh, I'm leaving," and they'll crawl right on the grill. Yeah, and you cue them up and eat them. They're really good.
They are actually really good. One of the yummier. Well, I like a lot of stuff that comes out of a shell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I really do. I know.
I think
a lot
the
of
only
it-
one I don't like is an oyster.
Oh, I love it. You don't like an
You don't
oyster?
like
I didn't know
oyster?
that.
Dude, I can't stand them. I've tried them like
really?
Every different way. Yeah.
I can
yeah,
agree
yeah,
with
I
you
understand.
on that,
I won't, and
bro.
I won't pick because he knows I want to like tomatoes more
Oh,
than
yes.
anything. They're the most beautiful
Oh,
fruit.
dude, they look so amazing.
and they're in. And I love them in salsa. I love them in pizza sauce and pasta sauce.
Absolutely, because you
And-
can't taste
and
them.
what's the stuff? Pico de gallo.
Yeah,
right? I love
pico.
all that stuff. But you throw a tomato on a sandwich, and I'll just fast.
It's
Thanks.
gross.
Nothing ruins a burger worse than a tomato.
Needs
and I've
more
tried. And people are like,
variety.
"Oh, you just haven't had the right ones, dude." I have grown tomatoes in my soil. When it rains, it's black like asphalt. It's the most beautiful, nutritious soil. We fertilize it. I have grown tomato plants that people are like, "Dude, these are the most amazing tomatoes ever." And dude, I just don't like them.
They're so gross.
They're so
They're
gross.
so nasty.
I've watched people take aroma and put salt on them and take a bite out of it, and they're
Yep.
like in heaven. And I'm
Yep.
like, that looks like the most amazing experience. And then I try it, and it's like,
Yeah.
They're vile.
I just
They
cannot. And
are
I've tried.
so vile.
I'm
So-
not a huge fan of plain tomatoes either.
I just can't do it, bro.
Yeah.
But like but now an oyster, like I like a little, what is it, cocktail sauce, some lemon juice.
Yeah, see, I've tried that. I've tried them smoked. I've tried them baked. I've tried them no.
Yeah.
Oysters are gross. Clams are good.
Yeah,
Mussels
clams
are good.
Mussels are good.
Sea spiders are good.
Spiders are good. I was supposed to segue when we were talking about the people who crashed the helicopter, and we were going to do a pause and say, let's start that video.
Oh,
So, in the nature of the ADHD Express,
what?
pause. We're going to start that video.
Hold on.
No. Squirrel. No, we don't actually have to do that right this second. But I was like, how do we transition back to that to kind of bring that story?
You just did.
We did. So let's
totally
talk
did.
a little bit about Dad. Do you mind?
Sure.
So we are going to chop this thing into 2 stories. We got 38 minutes so far. Joe, good luck. I love you,
Like
man.
38 minutes of recording so far?
Yes.
Okay.
And so I was going to try to kind of have it as a good spot to stop, and then we'd watch the video and then be able to start again. But so we'll figure that out. But so anyway, so I've kind of talked about it in other podcasts. Now, some of the podcasts that we talked about as we were starting out, we had technical difficulties, and we were recording from like 4 different brands of cameras and 3 different brands of microphones, and all the software nonsense that we were trying to use, stuff just got lost. So I think that me talking about Dad and his business with the red truck kind of got lost.
Yeah.
So I think we might need to talk about some of that. So when
What
we
better
were
time than when you're both here?
right. Well, no, this is actually perfect. So when we were kids, our dad got this job. So he was a truck driver, went to truck drive
Whole life.
school,
Whole life.
and always safe until the end.
He really was.
Until he started carrying around a mortar and
Yes.
pestle to grind up his Oxycontin, his
Yes,
Ambien,
and
and his
Ambien.
allergy pill. I said it was Oxycontin, Ambien, and an allergy pill. He would get all the coating off of them, crush them up together, and then snort that shit down and go for a drive
Yep.
while smoking weed the whole time.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he was kind of one of
My.
those, oh, dude, yeah. Like, if you ever look at me and you think, man, Brian's kind of weird. I wonder how he ended up like that. If you ever met my dad and spent an hour with him, you'd go, oh, never mind. Cool.
Nah, it's 'cause we dropped you on your head when you were a kid.
No, it was actually different things. No, it was the V board when I was trucking with him that fell and drilled me in the head. We were actually
Or was it
talking.
the cactus that you went face first into?
We were talking about it as children. Well, yeah. What about yourself? Russell, the road map on his head?
Nope.
That dude had more traumatic brain injuries before he was 15 years old, like than a football
Yep.
player.
Yeah, like
With
a
like
track cab.
multiple layers of stitches, fractured skulls, and like, dude, like, how did we even survive?
Because there wasn't warning labels.
There was nobody wore a helmet.
We didn't know we could die.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So anyway, so Dad was trying to get off the road. Dad was trying to come home. Mom, the whole thing. You got kids at home. It's hard. It's hard to be a trucker on the road all the time. So he ended up getting a job up at Hill, some civil service job. I don't know the job. Do you know?
I don't even remember how he started.
So he had a job up
He did
there,
have a job.
and it sucked. It was like
Yeah.
a suck job, and they needed somebody with security clearance and a CDL.
Yes, and he
And Uncle
happened
Dan.
to-
Uncle Dan, it was something up at like the Pentagon level. It was something up high because that's how Dan's like, oh, this guy. So they go and found him, and sure enough, hey, combat. He's a Bronze Star veteran from Vietnam, Purple Heart, all that kind of stuff. So they're like, perfect, this is our guy, and he can drive a truck. So they said they gave him and this is how you can always elaborate, right? Because they gave him basically a blank check, said go
Yes.
pick out a truck. It cannot look anything military. It needs to be inconspicuous.
Yep.
So
So
he comes back with the show truck off the showroom floor of Peterbilt.
Cherry
Cherry
red.
red with chrome and a matching chrome lowboy, like a red and chrome lowboy, and very ostentatious vehicle, but nothing to do with the military.
Nope.
Until you start wondering why there is an 18-wheeler driving down the road that has no DOT numbers on it anywhere. Zero. And so nothing that anybody could use. And so he just kind of had for several years a little bit of a charmed life there doing that.
Correct. He did a lot of covert training, dodging satellites, knowing when somebody is trying to interrogate you for information. Couple of his trips were actually overseas at counter espionage training. He told me some of the stuff, not all of it, because obviously
Yeah.
some of the things that he was
Classified.
doing was classified,
Yeah.
But there was times when he would tell me a little bit of the things that he was doing once I got my own security clearance. Not that it made it okay, but it's all old school now, so I don't care.
Yeah.
But yeah, he had a license plate on his truck that
Registered nowhere.
was registered to nowhere, and if it was called in, it would go to the Pentagon.
Oh, could you imagine being that cop?
All right.
You're
We
getting
got to
ready
sit there.
pull him over
We'd
and they're
ride
like,
with
"Don't
him.
Do it. Don't do it.
We'd ride with him, and the cops would come up, and he would just mess with them.
Or he would screw with them hard.
Oh, because he could say whatever he wanted.
Yeah.
As
Yes,
soon
there's
as they
nothing
get
they
that
could
call
do.
back from
Yep.
the Pentagon, it's like, okay, you're free to go.
Yep.
Like they couldn't do anything.
Oh, he would sit there and be like, you're going to every minute you keep me here. He would say,
Yeah. Yeah. He's like, you're not going to like the way this turns out. I need your logbooks. I don't have any.
Yeah.
Where's your DOT registration? Don't have any. Yes, my dad was a dick about it. But let's face it, who wouldn't?
who wouldn't have,
Who
who
wouldn't
would
have
not
done
use
that?
that? Who would not
I would
have
do
done
it.
that? I would do it too. In a
Right.
heartbeat.
Yeah, I mean, it was a lot of fun. I mean, most of the time, he did have armed escorts in vehicles front and behind and in the cab. The few trips that I went on and you went on were not as
Priority.
so there wasn't.
Well, I
huge
remember,
armed
and I
escorts.
wonder how much of that stuff he just didn't. So when I was a kid, they were experimenting with that year-round school, and so you'd randomly have 3 weeks off, and we were not the type of children you wanted to be home alone for 3 weeks, like in any way, shape, or form. And so I would just go in the truck with my dad. And like I remember one time we drove across the country to pick up one pallet with some sort of a warhead type thing on it. I don't even think it was a warhead. It was a cone of a cruise missile back when they were using the cruise missiles.
Yeah, it probably had
And
guidance stuff in
And
it.
stuff in it. And it was literally one pallet, and we pull into this yard, and there's like nothing going on. It's this weird little rinky-dink base in the middle of a city, and all these old farts sitting around, and they were like, oh, hey, you go grab that forklift over there and put that pallet on your dad's truck while we sit here and drink.
Yeah.
Like it was just
not
like, oh,
wrong.
okay. So then, I'm like in elementary school running over trying to get this military forklift started up on the flight line with jets and stuff like that. And like, then you'd come over and I couldn't get the forks right. And the guys are just, kick the pallet with their feet. I remember that very distinctly. And then pick it up and they set it on the truck and then they just jump up there and they slid it where they wanted it. Because it was one little thing.
Yep.
Yeah, and that was kind of like, that was my experience with going on military bases. Or the favorite one was Eagle. So Eagle test range. Now you don't know this yet, or maybe you do. Did I call you about the?
Yes, you did.
So I did a home inspection for a guy recently who is retired Air Force firefighter, but I don't know if he did a lot of stuff at the testing ranges. So this Eagle testing range that I've referenced, most of you don't know. It's one of those things like that is like a top secret testing installation. So top secret that this guy, when I mentioned it, he was like, wow. He goes, you know how I know you're legit? He goes, because the fact that you know what that Eagle exists.
Yep.
He's like, there's people who work in that division who don't know that Eagle is a thing.
Correct.
He goes, and the fact that you've been there, he's like that. He goes, you have to know what you're talking about. So he's agreed to come on the show here probably in
that's
like
awesome.
a week and a half. If you want to come back with him, he was really cool.
Yeah.
You want to come back with him?
I'll have to look at the calendar and dates.
Okay. I'll let you set it up. He's retired mostly, so he'll just make it work, he said.
I almost didn't make this one because of work.
Glad you did.
Yeah.
So anyway, so Eagle testing range. So we go out there, right? Where they're going to watch us. I don't know if they blew up that or was it a tank or something. I don't even remember what.
No, that one was
It was a bus.
They blew up tanks, but we had 2 American tanks and we had 3 Russian tanks. One of the Russian tanks was the one that we had parked in front of our house for 2 weeks. Yes.
And we have stuff out of it. They had basically like the equivalent of a tank roadside emergency kit. You remember? We have like the hat. I have the little pocket knife thing.
Do you really?
Yeah. That's
upstairs. Awesome.
Yeah.
They also had crates of machine guns because this was taken right after Desert Storm.
Okay.
And so the tank was fully militarized.
Equipped.
It didn't have any artillery rounds, thank God. Could you imagine? What's this button do?
I know, right?
Blow up the elementary school. But it was fully militarized and fully operational. Like, I tried to figure out how to get the badass tank scope out of it, but I couldn't. Like, I was trying to figure out how to take it apart.
He would literally come home and park these things in front of our houses, and then him and all the GIs would go. I don't even know what they do because we'd be outside crawling all over it.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, can I see your gun?
Yeah. Can I touch your gun?
But when we were in Eagle, what I remember is that us walking in on the little sidewalk, and there was the Marines there, the 3 GIs. Was it 2 or 3? Does you kind of?
I don't remember how many there were.
Talked to us about don't leave the sidewalks.
Leave the path because
they showed us there's landmines, and they showed us inside pictures of the landmines. So then there's Russ and I outside with rocks. Look, is that one? And we throw rocks. It didn't go off. That's not one. The GIs, they thought we were the funniest little kids in the world, chucking rocks at landmines, trying to find the landmine.
They're just like, they're going to be real surprised.
We were convinced that they were full of shit. We were like, yeah, you're full of crap. There's no way.
Yeah, we're throwing rocks at landmines. Well, trying to.
Never got one.
No.
That's why I still don't know that they were telling the truth, but.
Who knows?
Because I mean, remember the landmine they showed us?
I do. Yeah,
like
they had a whole bunch of
like
they had a bunch of different landmine models, and they showed us inside of the tower.
Yeah, don't walk around, and then we're throwing rocks.
All right, throw rocks out there.
Not walking, but still testing.
Yep. Yeah, and I want to say it was one of the Russian tanks that they brought out there and cut in half with the F-16.
It wasn't it. So in my mind, and I don't know if I know this, if I just fabricated this, depleted uranium rounds. Were they testing rounds? It was just literally a machine
depleted uranium rounds are on the 30 millimeter on the A-10.
Okay.
So the F-16, as far as I know, it does not shoot depleted uranium.
There's mom's got some F-16 rounds in the basement.
Yeah, the 20 millimeter. Yeah, so do I.
I need some of those. Can I have mom's?
Do you want to have? I have a string.
Really? Can we hang it up?
You can have it,
dude. That would be if I could hang it up out here. That'd be awesome.
Done.
You can always be
Yours.
like, when this podcast gets famous, come on, everybody, like and follow. This is a great time.
Yeah.
Like, follow, subscribe. Help us make this thing work so we can keep doing it because right now it's really hard.
Show some support.
to do. Yeah, show some support. Like, follow, comment, give us a comment. But then we can, have all these things, and one day it might be.
Yeah,
you could be like, I gave that to him. Just like I do around here. You guys know the restaurant Even Stevens? Squirrel.
Yep.
So if you go into the Even Stevens restaurant, they have this big vintage red arrow that back in the 40s and 50s would have been in front of like a mechanic shop or a diner with the lights, and it would blink.
That's cool.
So, and it's got, this is all analog. So it's got this brass wheel with all the, like a player piano with all the little cogs, and it has little fingers, and it turns, and that's what makes it flicker and everything work.
Okay, that's cool.
So anyways, I found that in an old barn when I was doing furniture stuff, and I totally rebuilt it, and I totally, out here in this shop, I got it working. Anyways, I sold it to them, and it's sitting on display in their building right now, lit up on the wall.
That's cool.
Yeah, so Even Stevens, when you see the big red arrow, that was mine. Anyways, that was a squirrel, but...
I was like, God, I hope that's not
I was
me.
trying to figure out where it was.
It wasn't me.
It
I'm
sounded
like,
over
I can't
here.
feel it. I'm like, it's not me. It's not me. It's you.
Anyways, so,
Uh-huh.
yeah, old stuff. Why did I segue about that? I don't know. What gave me the hint to that.
It was a squirrel.
Yeah.
Squirrels.
Cool.
I don't know why.
ADHD Express. That's what it is. Like, follow, and subscribe.
Guaranteed not follow a plan at all.
Yeah.
Pretty
Even if
much.
dude, are you kidding me? When we first started, I'm like, I would have index cards and a little
I
thing.
know.
It just was like, what? And then hell did we even go? We didn't touch half of what I had written
Oh,
down.
yeah.
Remember that? And I was just like, well,
If we did, we touch it for like 5 seconds and then next topic or
Your
some other
first
thing.
episode that I watched, it was very easy for me to follow along because, squirrels. I was like, oh, hey, yep.
well, and that's so honestly, I don't know if you read it. We had this one person who commented, they were like, man, this is like strikes home with me. It was so easy to follow. It was a natural conversation. And we're just like, oh, you poor soul.
Yeah, right? It's like, oh, that works in
Yeah.
your brain?
They said it scratches their ADHD itch.
Yeah. Oh, that's what they said. They
Yeah.
scratch their ADHD
Yeah.
itch. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So I've actually had a bunch of people who said exactly what you said. They're like, I thought it was great. The
Yeah, it
bounce
was
around.
easy.
Like a lot of times people get on these podcasts and they talk about one thing and you're like, okay, can you guys just
One topic podcasts are great for road trips because your entire brain just shuts off.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah. That's
And
a
next
good
thing
point.
you know,
An hour and a
it's
half.
like an hour and a half down the road and you're like, whoa, I'm still driving.
Yeah.
Cool. There's an hour and a half gone. I don't even have to worry about it.
Yep. That's a good point. Actually,
So,
you're right. I do that as well.
One
Yeah.
topic podcasts are great for just completely ignoring them. Sorry.
Just like white noise in the background.
Yeah. Yeah. If you disappear for a second here, you will be so lost.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wait,
What?
where is the squirrel there?
What?
What are you talking about? I don't see a single squirrel in that shop.
I'm going to get you one.
Why doesn't he have that 360 camera going so we can look around?
Oh, is it broken?
No, dude, that thing literally 15 minutes is 60 gigabytes of data on that camera.
Wow.
I had no
crazy.
idea, and I can't get it to work with my 256 card. I need to do some homework tonight and get that thing to actually work.
Yeah.
Yeah, 60 gigs. Is
Because I
pretty,
just reformatted that 256 and put it in there, and it still won't register.
that's too
Still
bad.
only been a second on it. So
That's too bad.
yeah, it's okay. We'll figure it out.
I mean, So you only have 15 minutes of fisheye?
Yeah, but that's okay because that gives us enough for our introduction and to kind of sync everything.
Oh, and then we
he'll
make people focus
Yes.
because you have to.
Yeah.
You have to.
You do. You got to keep that attention span.
Right?
It's so short now.
It is.
It is
like-
so short now.
It is.
6 seconds, like a goldfish.
Right?
And it really sucks when you're hand sanding stuff because you're like, where's the fast forward button?
Oh, dude, I know that is. Yeah,
I listen to a
projecting.
lot of my stuff on like 1.25 times speed or 1.5 times speed, like sped up.
So tell us a fun dad
Freak.
story, Russ. Driving down the road at 100 miles an hour in the red truck.
Oh,
Anything? What do you got? Tell us. I want to hear. I want to hear a story maybe that was yours with him that I don't know. Because we had plenty that we were all involved with.
I don't think there are any. My 14th year of life was filled with lots of those things. My first tattoo, hookers, not just one, a pimp, marijuana, driving an 18-wheeler. That wasn't at 100. That was at 75. And Dad
You
said,
guys about 15, 14.
yeah, I was 14. Cruising down the freeway, and Dad said, I'm going to go in the back and take a nap.
He did the same thing. He sets the cruise control. And he's like, don't let it go off the road.
And it's
right?
like, don't hit anything. And then he just left. And I went, yeah.
Panic.
And then had to jump in the driver's seat. And that's how
That's
I
exactly how he did it to me.
learned
how
how to
That's
steer
really interesting.
an 18-wheeler.
He had it planned out.
Yep.
It's like they're going to learn on the fly.
Well,
You have no choice.
I didn't have a
than to
driver's
know
license
the
when he let me
wheel.
run his drag car down the drag strip. I was 15 as well. And he's like, well, he did great with the tank, the forklift, and the semi.
Yeah. See,
What's
I
a
didn't get to
12-second
drive the
license?
tank.
Yeah.
I did get to drive
no,
the tank,
I didn't
which
drive the tank. I drove the armored personnel kit. No, you were there. We drove
no,
that.
I didn't drive it. I wasn't there.
I thought you were.
Oop. I did not get to drive that thing.
I'm
And
sorry. I
That really
thought
makes
you
me
were.
sad.
I know Mark was there.
I know.
Hooker, and Dad. And so who was with me? Maybe it was just us.
It could have been just you three.
Could have just been us three. Maybe it was. And
Yeah, I
maybe
didn't get to
thought
drive it. I wish I did.
It was fun. It was an interesting experience. Getting to drive the tank. Armored
Let's see.
personnel carrier.
Okay, here's one you may not know. This was when I got my CDL.
Okay, sure.
Okay.
Pride Transport days.
Yeah, working for
when all
Pride
you and Mark and
Transport.
Dad are driving for Pride. So Dad got out of the military, ended up because of some. Well, actually, I'll just say it. They became temporarily Jehovah's Witnesses, and the Jehovah's Witnesses were like, you can't support the military. They're terrible.
Correct. They definitely tried to indoctrinate our parents into their... Sure, we can call it that.
It's a church. Whatever. I don't mean to be rude, but like all things, there's people at these religions, they probably started with good intentions, but men are just greedy, corrupt buggers.
Correct.
Cannot help it. And so every religion's been ruined by men. And I'm sorry. I know that also is a comment that gets a lot of backlash, but all religions have been ruined by men. They're money-making organizations. Period.
We could have a fun one on that too.
Oh, dude.
Monetary system.
But we're going to keep it somewhat squirrel related unless that.
No,
so
back to
anyways, So he quit his job because their belief was you're not supposed to serve any kingdom other than God. So serving the military is you're serving that kingdom. So yeah, he did. He quit his job. And was he doing phone cards then?
Possibly. That's a whole, we could talk about that too. Phone cards. Jeez.
Or was he doing?
Yeah, do you remember calling cards? Before like cell phones were everywhere, there was calling cards. And you'd go to
look how young they are. They don't remember that shit.
So you would go to, there was literally everybody had a metal, like a condom dispenser. And it was, you put money in and it would kick out a calling card, and then you could use a payphone to make phone calls. And so it was a huge cash bit. Our cousin did it, started it. I mean, made millions of like money like you can't even imagine.
Hand over fist.
And most of it was small bills, untraceable. Like they all would be carrying around. We'd go out and they'd all have like a duffel bag full of like 5s, 10s, and 1s, 20s packed.
Tens of thousands of dollars, just loose, small bills.
Wow.
And it was like, hey, thanks for helping me. Here's a stack of like 50,000 minutes. Here you go.
Yeah.
So he went from military transport to selling.
Well, I don't remember when. In the timeline.
No, because that was after the old Friends attempt. He tried starting a business with one of the Jehovah's Witnesses.
That's right. Old Friends Restoration.
Business, and it just failed because the guy had a mental break. The dude was half the business and had
he was a master welder.
Master fabricator, like beyond imagination. Like a total nerd that was like into fabricating the most amazing things you could imagine.
He could cut and weld metal straighter than I could do wood.
That dude was and music.
Amazing.
That dude was an artist.
Yeah, that's what I got to change tires on the Earth Mover. Well, I worked for them as a restoration business. I have no idea why there was an Earth Mover there and why they told me to go change the tire on it. But I did. That was fun. Dang it, we segued again. I don't remember where I was going.
Well, it's because we were trying to figure out how you were trying to talk to a story about when you had your CDL with Dad. And
yeah. So I turned 21 and Dad decided we're going to be a father and son truck driving team.
Oh, fun stuff.
And I was like, sure, why not? What could go wrong? So we went out, I got my CDL, and we took off, and he made me drive for both of us. Because what a better way to learn than violating federal law.
And getting more hours in.
Just follow suit with everything else.
Yep.
So I drove basically from the West Coast to the East Coast, Tracy, California to Shrewsbury, Massachusetts, hauling steaks.
Oh, snap.
So it was great. We got steaks. It was cool. Anytime a problem happened, my dad would promptly be like, oh, it's time for me to go to bed. And he would just jump in the sleeper and make me deal with the cops. Because cops like to pull over truckers. Just what it is. Good revenue. All of the tickets are a decimal point higher than it is for somebody driving in their personal vehicle.
Yep.
It's easy because everything's tracked.
It is. Everything's tracked. It's easy money.
And if you mixed up on one thing, boom, nailed.
Yep. I don't blame them. It's easy money.
Yeah.
I don't blame them. So
that low-hanging fruit somehow.
We cruising through New York City. This was the second trip, going to a trade show. And I didn't know this. You guys are familiar with Broadway in New York City. Everybody is. Did you know halfway through it turns left? And the 8 lanes that are coming at you are one way. Yeah, I found that out as I drove down it at 5 o'clock.
The wrong way?
The wrong way.
Ooh, baby.
Yep. Dad said, well, that sucks. And he went in the sleeper and closed the curtains. Yep. And I was like,
Austin Powers turning that bitch around.
I'm like, what the hell do I do? Cop showed up and he was like, he was mad. New York City cops, they are mean, especially when you do dumb shit. He yelled at me for a while and then basically said, you're going to just sit here until traffic clears, and then you can leave. And if you're still here when I get back, I'm going to give you a ticket. So I had to sit there freaking out because I thought I was going to go to jail because I have an overactive imagination. And Dad sat in the sleeper smoking pot. So eventually I turned down an alleyway. I wiped out trash cans, newspaper stands,
Side of a trailer.
or
Two sides of the trailer.
the stoplight. That was the left turn. And then the right turn, I wiped out some more trash cans, bus bench, a bent stoplight.
Oh, snap.
Yeah. But I made it out of there. And then we went and parked.
You ever get your ticket?
Nope.
Oh,
Nope.
man.
I did not get a ticket. Did not. Then we parked and we went to a bar. And this was the first time going to a bar with my dad. So that was weird. And the waitress, she was cool. We're drinking, having a good time. And she's like, all right, well, it's time for me to clock out at the end of my shift. And I was like, cool, have a good night. And she stared at me expectantly. I forgot I was supposed to tip. And, Dad didn't help. He just sat there and laughed at me. So I had a tipper and like, why didn't you help? He's like, it's the best way to learn. You won't forget.
Yep. That sounds like
Guess
it.
what? I have not forgot to tip somebody since
That's
then.
fair.
Yeah. Yeah. That was my trip to New York.
Yeah, that sounds like an adventure.
Everything was. With my father.
Everything was.
Yeah.
Everything was an adventure. Nothing went smooth.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah.
It was fun though. I mean, we are who we are today because of it.
Yeah.
Made
So
us
just
strong.
I remember just when I finally was like old enough and like they'd have parties for days and then the cops would show up and Dad, you go talk to them. Remember?
Yep.
He always made me look clean
yes.
like Russ and everybody else was radical looking and he was always like, no, somebody's got to look clean to go talk to the cops.
Yep. Would not let me talk to the police.
Nope. It's really funny. Like he legitimately was like, yeah. Do you remember the college advice?
No.
He never gave you college advice?
No, because I wasn't going to go to college.
Oh, see, he gave me college advice. My dad's college advice really sums up Dad's persona as well. There's a lot of things that sum up Dad's persona. His college advice to me was to do research and find a university that either closed or was absorbed by another university around the time that I would have graduated, and then you fake a diploma from the school that is no more in existence so they can't verify it. That is what my father's college advice was.
That's genius.
No, it's
Yeah, that
dude.
sounds right.
Degree without the time
That
committed.
sounds right.
That's exactly, and he did that because he would put on sometimes he had a college education.
Yes,
It was
he would.
totally fake. It was a school that closed and was gone.
Nobody can verify.
Nobody
it.
can verify.
Nobody can
it.
verify
Oh
it.
my gosh.
Like for real,
Yeah,
dude.
that
You're
tracks.
like, this is who raised me. And so, like, for all of you who are like, wow, Brian, you're so upstanding and good, you have no idea how hard the struggle is. Every day it's an uphill battle.
It is. It is.
I just barely holding it together most of the time.
Might snap one of these days.
Dude, I actually had one on a home inspection the other day. The guy was being really stupid and it was a listing agent. And anyways, and he actually kind of like got in my face for a minute. And I had to be like, you know what? I got to go. And I just got in my car and I left. I was going to beat him to death. I was like, as soon as my hands start shaking, I'm like, yep, I'm out of here.
Time to go.
I got all my felonies dropped. I'm squeaky clean now. Like, this is not the time to pick up an assault
today.
charge.
No, we don't want that.
Yep, not today. Yep, I feel like I won that one.
You did.
And actually, so you didn't hear the story. As I drove away, I got about 2 blocks away and I pulled over and flipped a U-turn. I was going to go back. And I was like, and I don't remember who I called. One of my friends I called. I was like, you know what? I'm going to like kill this dude. I called somebody.
It's like, hey, man, you need to talk me down.
You need to talk me down because that dude,
What?
I see him standing in the driveway. He's just waiting for it.
You gotta talk me down.
My car can go pretty fast right now.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. But I was really glad that
We're
Stay
growing
cool and
up.
collected.
felt really good to be not, to like, I'm leaving. I'm out of here. I did. I just like, I put my hand in his face. I'm like, nope, I'm leaving. I'm out.
Stop while you're ahead.
Yep. Yeah. Oh, are we really? Holy shiz. That was an hour.
That was an hour?
That was an hour.
Wow.
That is
Really?
so crazy.
I lost my phone.
So wow,
down
you guys. So
somewhere.
that was an hour that we're gonna squeeze that thing into 2 podcasts for you guys. So and I think what we'll do is we'll just do a short where I'll talk for a few minutes about the video. We'll show the helicopter video and then kind of end it and then just throw that on the channel. And then people can go and watch the helicopter recovery that was not alien fire. And you guys
It would
can
be
see
so much cooler though.
it is. Well, that's why I was like, it's fine. Russ
made
even
me
asked me, he's
giggle,
like, do you want me just to say that it was aliens? And I'm like, no, I want
You made me giggle a lot. I was at work watching it and I'm just giggling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mom, I think told me the same thing. She's like, or did you tell her?
Yeah, I talked to Mom about it. Well, I wanted to ask. I was like, should I call him? Tell him that his guest mics suck ass?
Oh no, we knew that. Yeah. No, we knew. Like I said, that was the very first podcast, dude. We were, like I said, using
Yeah, well,
it just,
I know, but I
everything
was like-
about that was bad.
Should I call him? And she said, yes, call him. All right, cool. Done.
Yeah. So no, it's fine. We knew it was. And like the thing of it was, is, the advice that was given to me by people who do this and do this well is just start.
Well, yeah.
Just start.
Dude, that's
If it sucks, it's fine. Just start.
journey starts with one step.
That's right. Well, and if Joe was here, Joe would talk about how we all, like when you branch out and you try something new, the reason it's so hard is because in a way you become the fool again.
Yeah.
You make dumb choices, dumb
Oh,
mistakes.
that's okay, though.
It is. No, it's fine. It is. You lose all of your expertise, because you just don't know.
Yeah.
But we've learned a ton.
I
And
think
compared to
it's-
people who don't know, don't do this at all, I know a lot more than they do.
Oh, absolutely. I don't know anything about this.
So-
And I rolled in here and you've got like all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's exciting because it's like an opportunity to learn something,
It is
to like
something
gain
new
a
and
new
grew.
knowledge.
Well, somebody pitched it to me is like when you create a podcast or when you create some content, really it's your artistic expression.
yeah.
Like we're creating something that is going to be here. Like
Yeah.
not to make this a dark twist, but God forbid every one of us dies in a car crash on the way home. Well, we have videos now. People can go and be like, "Oh, I haven't heard Dad's voice for a really long time." They can go watch this and hear a story from us.
yeah.
And go, God, they're weird.
Yeah.
Man, I miss that.
Well, no, but the thing of it is when they become adults, they're going to be like, and then they're going to hear stories about our dad and how he raised us, and they're going to hear stories about his parents and how they raised him. You know what I'm saying? And all those things, and then they're going to be like, wow, they really did the best they could
Yeah.
with what they had.
Yeah. I've already told stories like that to my kids.
Yeah.
Actually,
I try to as well.
Emily's done more.
Oh. As far as crazy, stupid stuff, or just told stories?
No. When I fly off the handle, because I get upset, she'll pull the kids aside and she'll be like, look, it could be worse. And then she'll go back through and
Talk about stuff.
yeah.
Yeah, and it's hard. It's really hard. So it's weird as I've been getting to know, I've been getting to know the Kanosh family. Been spending time
Yes.
with the Kanosh.
Yeah.
We have cousins down there that are closer than our cousins.
No.
Like we have so Carrie is who I go down there.
Yeah,
I have
yeah.
cousins that are way closer in blood relation than Carrie.
Really?
Yes,
Well, I knew we had family
Grandma
down there.
Pearl's family is all over there. Like the one time we were down there dirt biking, we're hanging out, and Carrie's on the other side's grandpa's house, and we were on the front because we were staying there. And a Kanosh public worker pulls up in a Kanosh truck. Hey, what's going on, folks? How you guys doing? And just kind of being really friendly and introductory. And he's like, well, I just want to stop by. This is my grandpa's place. I just wanted to make sure. And I was like, oh. I was like, interesting. So I said, I'm kind of supposedly related to this family somehow. And he's like, who are you? I said, well, I'm a Carlson. I said, but my grandmother was a Bemis. And he goes, oh, I'm a Bemis.
Oh, wow.
That's how close we are. So even down in Moab, we were just going with a cousin Norm and Hayden. And like, Norm's amazing.
Yeah.
He's so chill and happy. He doesn't get mad. And we actually talked to his wife and his kids about that. And they were like, yeah, no, he just doesn't get mad. Like
That's
nothing
weird.
pisses him off.
That's weird.
Is it, or is it like something to aspire to?
Yeah.
I do try.
I do too. I hate
do
that I have a
try.
temper. Are you kidding me? Like, and then after, like I said, I talked the other day with the realtor, I was all mad at, and then I'm like, dude, why did you get that mad? There was no reason to get that pissed. It's like in our blood.
It's got to be.
I mean, because, the mom's brothers are that way.
Because we're dumb. Yes, I do. I definitely try. I'm getting pinged.
Oh yeah, it's because we're probably
Because
running out of time.
we're
Okay, you guys. I've
bouncing
got to
on
wrap
that
this
time.
thing up. I did
Yeah.
not get a chance to show the belly landing helicopter video, but I'm just going to do a quick reel after this. When Russ is gone, he's got a doctor's appointment, so we're going to get him out of here, and then we'll just create a little reel and sync the helicopter video to it. And everybody, that was weird.
Oh, you're weird.
So Russ, thank you very much for joining us.
Absolutely.
Guys, if you enjoy this podcast, if you like hearing some of these fun stories, you know the deal. Give us a like, a subscribe, a comment really helps feed these algorithms so that we can do this. A lot of people talk about supporting their friends and family in their business. Social media is the easiest way to support someone's business. Literally just go on and make a comment and say, hi. That's enough. That feeds the algorithm. We can respond to it, and it bumps it in front of a whole nother people. So
Or
not
you can
even
put
just
F.
me. Huh?
F.
You can type an F. You can type, give me a grade, A, B, C, D, F, E, G, H, I, G. We'll figure out what they all mean.
Later.
But
We'll
just
make it
type
up.
something. And that also goes to show for anybody that you know that is trying their businesses based off of this stuff. All it takes is a simple subscribe, a like, and a comment, and they will be able to continue. And that goes across the board. If you see someone's content and you're like, wow, I like watching that, subscribe and give that dude a comment. Say, hey, I enjoyed that.
I mean, if you're at this point and you're hearing this, you've already made it through it. So you might as well just do that extra step.
It's true. That's a good point. We do lose.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. If you're hearing it,
Yeah.
you've already done it. So just do it.
If you're a part of that 25%, join us.
Yep. Join us. Okay, you guys. Well, thank you very much.
It was awesome. Thanks for coming.
Heck yeah. Thanks for having me. It was awesome. I had to hit stop. Hoo-yah!